also authority. But then services, then catering, then supplying, fruits, vegetables, or then oil.
Right.
And all that, of course, then it's entirely in the hands of private sector.
Okay.
So then, of course, then there will be a understanding with public sector and private sector. Of course, then I think if you increase the number of job opportunities in the public sector by 50,000, then definitely 6 times of job opportunities created by private sector, especially with the services. No, normally in our country, of course, like in other countries, you can see the rapid growth in the service sector.
Yes.
Rather than agriculture and the industries.
Yeah.
Okay. So there, of course, this I said that then this is one example as a naval hub. Then you, of course, airports, of course. Now we have started expanding the Colombo airport, and at the same time to start a new airport in Hambantota.
Yeah, I mean, yes, go ahead, sorry.
So then we have found a donor. And by spending $90 million, of course, there's another advantage there, of course. Now we have only one airport. As a result, of course, the insurance premium was also a little higher than compared to other countries.
Yeah, but then this airport, wasn't it supposed to be built some time back? I mean, wasn't this also in the first Chintane? I don't know.
Yes, of course, but at that time, that was there. But the thing is, we couldn't find a donor or the loan facility.
Yeah, but do you think what criticism is Mihin Lanka, where the government spent a lot of money in starting Mihin Lanka, whether that money should have actually gone to Mihin Lanka as opposed to infrastructure, perhaps maybe to develop the new airport, because we already have a Sri Lankan Airlines which is owned by the state. So, because I'm talking about it, because you're talking about aviation.
Yeah, but at that time, of course, it's some other issue. Of course, now I don't want to talk much about Mihin Lanka, because I think that at that time, the Sri Lankan Airlines, of course, majority shares, or the entire management is handled by Emirates.
Yeah, but now we don't need two airlines.
The thing is now the Mihin Lanka started to introduce the budget airline.
Right.
We didn't have such experience earlier, but with that recession, then during that period, of course, starting even a regional airline, of course, it's a risk. There's always a risk in the business. There's a risk, of course.
So in this aviation hub, I mean, do you plan to, I don't know whether you can answer.
Mainly the reason is now you also admit that the insurance premium is higher compared to the India or some other countries, neighboring countries, because we have only one international airport.
Agreed.
Now, in the case of crash landing or something like that, we have to go to some other country, not in our country. So then, once we completed the Hambantota Mattala airport within next 24 months or 36 months, of course, then we have another alternative airport. Then definitely the insurance premium will go down. So then, as a result, of course, the tourists also getting that benefit, and Sri Lankans also.
Because of the concern.
There's one advantage we have.
Yeah, concern for time. What about the private sector? I mean, what is Mahinda Chintana 2 offering the private
yes,
sector?
Of course, the private sector now see with the improvement of tourism and all that. Now see, according to the New York Times, of course, Sri Lanka listed number 1 among 31 countries as a tourist destination.
Yes.
So it's a
very good thing.
It's a very good thing as Sri Lankans, whether we have different ideologies in the political field, of course. As Sri Lankans, we are very proud that we have been listed as a number 1 among 31 destinations. So then with that, of course, if the number of tourists increased in our country, then now they can go to Pasikuda, Rugambe, Jaffna, anywhere in the world. So with that, of course, the private sector can play a major role. The thing is now they can introduce, for an example, seaplanes. Now if you go to Kalpitiya, then you find lot of tourist hotels coming up at the moment. So there you can watch dolphins about 200 within 200 meters.
Yeah, I haven't seen, but some of my friends
I have been to that place.
I heard it was fantastic. Now, actually, this at a more philosophical level, I mean, lots of promises. Now, for instance, in the Mahinda Chintana 1, I actually noted it down, 1.5 million tourists, to get 1.5 million tourists, that the infrastructure will be improved. Yeah, by 2010, develop the hotel industry and so on. Now there is this another I guess target of 2 million or whatever. Now when the 1.5 million target was set in the Chintana,
it was not achieved. That is because of the situation at that time.
Yeah, but then the situation was known at that time.
Yeah.
I mean,
we expected that if some kind of a negotiated settlement achieved by both parties, then of course there will be a peace in the country. But now we can talk about, our targets, our objectives, because now we know we have a peace in the country.
Yes, my point is this: how realistic, right? At a very macro, general level, how realistic are these promises? Everybody
these
can
are
promise.
Not promises, of course. Yeah. These are not promises. These are action plans for each and every field, of course. Now, I think if you that is why when I started my presentation, I explained little the situation prevailed at that time, 2005.
Yeah.
So then now there's a change. Now with that change, of course, these will be realistic. But that is why we have to compare two situations.
Yeah. So now for the private sector, what you're saying is tourism and services.
Private sector has to play a major role from 2010, because now there is no war at the moment.
Yes.
We all enjoy the peace dividends, right? So now there are opportunities for private sector, to start any kind of a companies or whatever that, right? So then we have explained the knowledge center, and then we invite our experts who left the country some time back, whether they belongs to any ethnic group, they can come here. Because I recently met for hundreds of experts who came from Canada, USA, UK, Germany, and all that, of course. And some business entrepreneurs, they came to Sri Lanka. They visited certain places in Trincomalee and other areas.
Yeah, but then the issue is, if you look at the surveys that are out by the World Bank and IFC and all that, doing business and things like that, is very difficult. I mean, Sri Lanka is dropping in the rankings.
That is of course. In certain period we had a closed economy, then we had a mixed economy, then we had liberal economy. So we have as Sri Lankans, we have experienced all three types of situations. But now, of course, to develop a country, first of all, you have to improve the infrastructure facilities. Especially the number one is power. Now what happened during 1995-2000, you find power cuts, 2 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours. And for 15 years, we couldn't start Norachole coal power plant. For 6 years, we couldn't start Apakotmale hydropower plant. Now we have started. Now within next 18 to 24 months, right, we have a target. So then Apakotmale will generate 150 megawatts.
Yeah, but then
then Norachole will start with 300 megawatts and all that. Now see, in the business